Thank you very much for the warm welcome, and pleasure to speak to you, although unfortunately this time not in person. I'm here to talk about the how 2020 has changed the way we invest, and look forward to just going through that with you guys. I'm Pötscher. I'm CMO at Bitpanda. We're the leading European investment platform, over 1.4 million customers all across Europe, and nearly 300 employees. So I joined about a year ago, and really excited to be here, speak to you guys, and also share some of the insights that we've seen over the past year that I've been here. Let's start with 2020, the obvious place to start. It's been a tough year. We've all gone through a lot. I'm not going to repeat the year for you. We've all been through the same sort of year. We've seen a massive shift in the customer behavior. We've seen a massive shift in how people think about money, how they think about investing, and that's basically what I want to go through today. We've seen customers more and more ask how they can escape the negative interest rates that they're seeing. We're seeing more and more customers even understand what that means compared to 2019. They're asking themselves these questions because they're reading in the news how much money is being printed. They're reading in the news how all these startups, these investment startups, have grown and how they've been changing the market. And they've also had a look at some of their investment products that they're offered by more traditional investment firms. And they feel that these are more outdated and they're looking for alternatives. And very often they're looking for digital alternatives, especially in the times where everyone is, based out of our homes and working from here. But ultimately what we're looking for, all of us, I believe, is for a more prosperous future. And the term saving comes up more and more. But saving not in the sense of the traditional way, where very often it's tied to a fiat currency, but saving in an investment perspective. So how can I do a recurring buy, for example, on my investment products? And we're seeing that these questions are being raised more and more, and that this is all due to this year that has been changing the way that we think about money. Retail users are developing a desire to invest, which is ultimately leading them to understand they basically have no choice but to invest, especially if they're looking for that prosperous future that they're looking for. Keeping money on your bank or creating a savings account and these sort of investment products are not financially sound anymore if you're looking for the next 10, 20, 30 years. So we're looking for alternatives. We're seeing that the investment is moving from the Wall Street into your pocket. Basically meaning, and especially in the US, you can see that there's a major shift in the accessibility in sometimes very complex financial instruments to the general public. And the readiness and the availability of this product for everybody in their own pocket, in the app, in the web browser, wherever it may be, but basically from home, anybody can invest and should have access to investment into whatever they choose as fit. And we've seen, like I mentioned, we've seen this mentioned in or growing in the US more and more this year. But in Europe, this is arriving just as much. In Europe, we're seeing a spiked interest in investing from our pockets also. And how do we record this? How do we? What am I talking about? I'm talking about search queries for terms like stocks and ETFs and even Bitcoin. All of these have doubled year on year. In the case of stocks and ETFs, it's even increased more than that. So we're seeing that more people are looking for those terms. We're seeing a record-breaking install rates for investing apps since March. So really, as in Europe, you saw the first lockdowns take place, and also in the US, the first lockdowns take place, the install rates have just gone through the roof. uncomparable to anything we saw in 2019 or there before. This whole pandemic has led to an increase of almost 50% in sessions in all payment apps. So we're finally adapting the way that we handle money, even in an offline world. We're taking the example of, some of the Nordic countries like Sweden, where cash payment is a rarity. And now this is coming to Europe, to mainland Europe. And more, we're seeing contactless payment, we're seeing plastic payment, we're seeing payment through payment apps, digital payments, etc. And when we look at the investment apps, those have seen an 88% growth on average sessions, which means that people are not only flocking towards these apps, which is the spikes of the installs that we saw earlier, but now they're even looking at these apps more often. They're, joining, they're looking at the prices, they're maybe doing the trades, maybe not doing the trades, that doesn't even matter, but the interest is there. And the intention to understand what's happening in the market, to follow up with the news, to follow up with the price ultimately, that is where we've seen the biggest demand. But underlying, what it really boils down to is there's a need for a fair and a transparent way to invest. And this is where we believe we can really have an impact. Okay, but let's look at what's driving the users, because what we've seen now is we've seen this trend. Now let's dig one step deeper and let's look at why this trend is even happening. On the one side, it's never been easier to invest than today. You can literally install 5 different apps. You can verify yourself with your ID cards, with your passports within minutes. You can then transfer money, in some cases even instantly, and then you can invest into whatever you want at a click of a button at whatever price you want. What I mean with that is obviously the fractionality of some of the shares, some of the cryptocurrencies, etc. So the access to these financial tools and financial products have never been easier. There's an incredible opportunity. We all here at the conference, but also outside when we talk to our friends and family, we look at the opportunity, and there is a massive opportunity in terms of the volatility that we've seen this year. And that's not just the Bitcoin volatility that's been going through the roof in the past weeks, but also on the tech stock side and in very many other asset classes. And then most people, and unfortunately I can't count myself to these, or fortunately maybe I can't count myself to these, but a lot of people have more time on their hands during this corona pandemic than they did previously. A lot of them are maybe only working part-time anymore. A lot of them are not working at all anymore, unfortunately. And with this added amount of time, we're seeing that more people are investing this time into their financial future and understanding how they can increase their own financial literacy. And then, last but not least, it's about the online community, where maybe a year ago, we would have run to bank advisors to ask for advice or ask for ideas on where we can invest our money. We're now turning towards social media, we're turning towards our friends, we're turning towards some of these investment apps that allow social trading. We're turning towards our gut feeling when it comes to companies that we want to invest in, or cryptocurrencies that we want to invest in. We're relying on the news, etc. So we're doing our own research much more this year than in the last. So ultimately what's happened is investing is finally becoming a little bit more democratized through all of the above that I've mentioned. But where is the major fear? Where is the biggest fear where we need to take care of the consumers? And this is unfortunately a topic that is coming up and has come up for the past couple of years. We need to increase not only the financial literacy, so make sure that everybody who is willing to invest actually has the knowledge and the financial basis so that they can do a good job at that, and they don't take any unnecessary risks or unwanted risks. We need to definitely raise the awareness of cyber threats, because also this year we're seeing more happening. Every year there's more cyber threats happening, and every one of us in the finance industry needs to take this as serious as possible and educate our customers on what they can be doing or what we are doing for them to keep their finances safe and to keep their digital footprint safe. So this is going to become more and more important than it's ever been, even in the future. And we, as the investing apps, we need to take that responsibility. We need to educate, we need to protect, and we need to provide guidance. On the education front, we're seeing great examples of academies. There's the Bitpanda Academy that you can visit, but there's also very many others from reputable firms around the world who have created this step-by-step guide or online course on how to invest, how to understand the terms that are being used, how to understand the implications that some investments might have, or in some cases also just understand the risks that might be involved with any investments that are being taken. So I definitely see that this is going to happen more and more in the coming years. So I just quickly want to touch on what the outlook is. I want to make clear, in my opinion, this is just the beginning. 2020 is not over in a few weeks. This year is shaping the next decade. And what I mean with that is that we are not going to return to the status quo from 2019 anytime soon, or maybe ever. And we're not going to do that in the sense of how we work. We're not going to do that in the sense of how we interact with each other. And we're also not going to do that in the sense of how and where we invest. This has changed. There's already been this change, and it's already put into motion. That isn't going to be reversed back. So we now need to stand at where we are. We need to look at the trends that are happening today and anticipate what's going to be done, obviously, in the future. And what's going to happen in the future is that this is just going to be accelerated even more. It's going to get even more mainstream to start investing in Europe into all sorts of different asset classes. And that at the tip of your finger and at an instant, in real time, and 24/7, obviously. We're going to see more and more investing academies. There's some incredible examples of YouTubers, Instagrammers, other influencers who have in the past been talking about all sorts of topics of life, and have now actually shifted some of their focus towards specifically talking about financial literacy, because it is not just a trend that we're seeing in the fintech industry, but it's actually something that has gone into the mainstream. And if you see these in some cases 18-year-old influencers now suddenly make a shift and start talking about their pensions and start talking about investing, etc. It's on the one side really, really great to see that this is arriving into the younger audiences also. And on the other hand, it's a wake-up call for everyone who hasn't embraced this shift yet, or hasn't maybe seen this shift yet, to do so very, very quickly, and definitely take appropriate actions. Third point, we're seeing more and more AI and robo-advisors happening, and I think this is something that I look at with always a bit of a cautious eye. We talked about taking the responsibility. We talked about providing guidance, right? AI is a wonderful aid and a wonderful tool that can and shall be used more in the future, and will be used more in the future, especially when it comes to investment apps. I think where Where we have to be a little bit careful is where we keep that personal safeguard, where people still make their own decisions on how much risk they are willing to take and how much they understand of what is being bought and sold in the background of this AI. So I think there's a fine line between handing everything off and just letting the bot do what it's doing, and actually understanding how much risk you're exposed to, what you're investing in, etc. So I think this will be a trend that we have to closely monitor in the future. And the fourth point, obviously, is these safeguards, especially for the newbies who haven't yet had the chance to reach all these influencers, to maybe read all these academy content pieces. And for those, we need to take care that we do build safeguards and guardrails for them, so that they don't expose themselves to more risk than intended, and deliberately intended. So I think these are the four outlooks that I see, at least for the next few years and potentially for the next decade. And to close, I just wanted to end with one statement, and this is something that Bitpanda stands for, and something we're striving towards, is that no matter the budget or the country you're in, if you have access to the internet, you should also have access to the financial world. So where we are today with Bitpanda is we're very known for our crypto products. We're the largest neo broker for cryptocurrencies in Europe. We provide a safe and easy and transparent way to invest into cryptocurrencies. We're fully regulated by the Austrian Financial Authority, and we have payment provider licenses, and we're applying for a lot more in various countries. And I think this is where companies that come from a crypto world need to basically educate the market and educate also their customers that crypto has changed. Crypto is regulated and shall be regulated and should be regulated, and it will continue to do so in the future. And what it does and what it allows for is that truly anybody who believes that the asset class will have more worth in the next years to come should have access to purchasing them. But it doesn't end with crypto. Bitpanda 2018 in the summer launched metals as its latest product. So what we did is we started digitizing gold, and we allowed for customers to purchase fractions of gold at a very, very low fee. And this gold is actually fully asset backed. It's stored in vaults in Switzerland and in Germany. So you can be sure that there is actually full asset backed gold in a vault somewhere with the gold that you have purchased. And we didn't stop there either. We've now launched another product where we've brought the world's first real crypto index into the market. So instead of having to choose which cryptocurrency you want to invest in, we've now actually thrown an index together. And you can now invest in the market. You can invest in the top 5, top 10, or top 25 cryptocurrencies, and it automatically rebalances based on performance. And very soon, in 2021, we look forward to also adding stocks to our portfolio, and thereafter there will be more asset classes that will join. So it's a very, very exciting time for not only us, but I believe for the entire investment industry. And I definitely look forward to 2021. I sure hope everyone's safe, and I hope everyone has had a year without pain, physical and emotional, obviously. And I do hope that 2021 will be a little bit smoother, a little bit less tumultuous, and I look forward to it. Yeah. On that note, enjoy the rest of the conference, and I wish I could be there in person. Thank you.